Hey everybody, Jochen Hayden here, and I'm back with another tutorial for War in the Pacific, Admiral's Edition. So today I want to talk about a topic that has caused me a lot of confusion and consternation and a lot of lost ground battles, and that is assault value and what does it actually mean. So I find that a lot of new players, myself included, take this number and assume that it means it's the end all be all of ground combat, and I'm here to tell you that's not necessarily true. So today I'm going to show you exactly what assault value is, what it means, and why you shouldn't use it solely as your metric for basing whether or not ground combat will be successful or not. So let's start with explaining what exactly assault value is. We'll go to the manual. So per the manual, assault value is the measure of the unit's ability to attack and defend in ground combat. All right? However, there's a lot more to it than that. Let's take a look at what else the manual says about it. Let's go to page 270. All right. Notes on combat. The value listed after the unit's symbol is its assault value, or if the unit is artillery, the number of tubes engaged. The assault value listed during the orders phase, which is what we're looking at right here. This is the orders phase, right? So we see assault strength of 38. In the in the orders phase is the unit's potential value and will not always be the same as the value listed in the combat screen. So what does that tell you? It means that that value changes based on a number of factors, okay? The value listed in the combat screen has been modified by the combat situation, like unit disruption, fatigue, damage sustained, confusion in battle, and other factors that it doesn't even mention here. So let's continue on with that. So now you know that the orders phase assault value number can change dramatically during the combat phase. So let's take a look at this unit here. This is the 6th Marine Defense Battalion, okay? It's considered an artillery unit, but basically it's like it's a conglomeration of several different types of units in one. You have infantry, you have anti-aircraft, you have coastal defense, and you have an armor unit all built into one. When you look at this, you see assault strength of 38, assault strength, assault value, those are synonymous, okay? AV, AS. You say, oh, 38, that's not very good. That doesn't seem like it's very strong. But there's a lot more to it. What you have to understand about this screen is that assault strength or assault value is basically only counting the amount of units that can contribute to the attack, if you will. Well, that's not even true. It's the count of units that are considered combatant units for ground combat. So let's take a look here. You have a U.S. medium machine gun section, 15. USMC Rifle Squad, 18. And down here, you have an M2A4 light tank. If you add those up, what do you get? You get 38. But there's more devices or squads in this unit than 38. So this number is only counting in the order screen these frontline units that can actually maneuver and engage in actual combat. But more is happening than that. Okay, so there's coastal defense guns, there's support units. These all play a role in the combat phase when it comes down to ground combat. So now you see this, all right? I want to show you a comparable unit to this on the Japanese side. So keep an eye on this, the 6th Marine Defense Battalion. We're going to go look at a Japanese unit of roughly the same assault value, maybe a little bit more. Let's check this out. Okay, I'm back, and now I'm on the Japanese side. Same AI campaign, same time, same date, everything. I want to show you this unit over here. Let's go look at this one over here. Okay, Maizuru First SNLF. Let's take a look at this unit. It's considered an infantry unit. This is one of those special naval landing forces, like the Japanese equivalent of a marine unit. It has an assault strength of 61. So on paper, you're looking at this and going, hey, this unit is stronger than that Marine Defense Battalion. It should be able to take it out. Well, let's see where we're getting this assault value from. We have 47 SNLF squads that are active, not disabled. Remember, disabled squads are in parentheses here, and the ones that are active and able to actually fight are over here. So you have 47 of those. You have 12 of these heavy machine gun squads, so that gets us up to 59. And then down here you have 2 Type 91 armored cars. 59 plus 2, 61. Now, of course, there are more devices or squads in this unit than 61 squads, but these are the ones that the game considers are the maneuver elements of your unit. So again, on paper, we have 61 versus 38. Should be stronger, right? Not necessarily. And this is where I want to show you. You have to look a little bit deeper than the straight assault strength or assault value of your unit to find out what it's actually capable of doing. So this is how you do that. If you really want to know what this unit's firepower is, we need to look at each particular item in there, and I'll show you how to do that. So for example, we're looking at SNLF squad, right? That's the bulk of this unit's firepower. 47 of these. SNLF squad. Well, what is in an SNLF squad? Let's find out. To do that, you're going to go up to the top here and you're going to click on this little icon. Now, granted, I'm using a different UI than you are, so my symbols might look different, but the position's the same and the callout will be the same, and it's the D key on your keyboard. Boom. When you get in here, we're going to look at the type of squad that we had, and it was an infantry squad or device. Then I like to sort by name, and I'll scroll down, and I'll find SNLF squad. So this tells me that this squad has an anti-armor rating of 5 and an anti-soft rating of 20. Anti-soft would be going against other infantry units, support units, the light unarmored things like, you know, men and stuff like that. And obviously anti-armor pertains to its ability to attack armored units, right? So we know here that the SNLF squad has an anti-soft rating of 20 and an anti-armor rating of 5. Now, do you recall the allied unit that we were looking at? It had USMC rifle squads. We could look at that too. So we'll scroll down to USMC rifle squad. Right off the bat, we see that its particular squad has an anti-armor rating of 15, which is drastically higher than the Japanese equivalent, right? And an anti-soft rating of 21, which is just a little bit higher than the Japanese one, but it's still higher. So that's how you can compare apples to apples. And I'm going to show you a little thing I've done here to compare these two units, the 6th Marine Defense Battalion and the Maizuru 1st SNLF. Check this out. Boom, we got a spreadsheet. I put this together the other day. So this is the entire contents of the 6th Marine Detachment. Now, I rounded it up and made the AV 62 for the Japanese and the AV for the 6th Marines 40, assuming they have no disabled squads, all right? So I took each one of these things and I calculated their anti-armor and their anti-soft capabilities based on the type of device that they had. And I got this information from the little database in the game. You know, I hit the D key. All this information came from there. You'll notice I have a few things that are in red. These are things that don't have any kind of offensive capability, like a sound detector. It doesn't attack. It's considered electronic. It doesn't do anything. Additionally, I've also put in red the anti-aircraft weapons. These are called AAA guns in the game. I have yet to been able to conclusively determine that these contribute to ground combat. They very well might, but I have not found concrete hard proof that they do. So for the purposes of this demonstration, I'm not going to factor them in. Okay? So, but they could engage in ground combat as well, but I can't prove it. So let's just take them out. So anything in red, just assume that they're not in play here. So next what I did was I took the anti-armor and the anti-soft of each squad or device that contributes to ground combat, and I calculated them. So let's take a look at the 6th Marine Detachment with an AV of 40. When you add up its anti-armor capability from all the different pieces of it that contribute to stuff, you get a total of 1,427 units of firepower against anti-armor. All right. If you look at the anti-soft, doing the same thing, you get 1448. And how do I arrive at this? Well, one thing that the game considers is that these support units, they don't attack, but they're considered 1/10 of an assault value on the defense. So that's why I have asterisks here. These are numbers assuming defense. If you're on the offense, you don't get the support firepower added into your equation, right? That's just something that's in the game manual. Support counts as 1/10 of an assault value on defense only. So take it. We're talking decimals here. Don't worry about it too much. So with the 6th Marine Detachment with an AV of 40, you get 1427, 1428, 1448. Let's look at the Japanese first, the Maizuru first SNLF. I did the exact same thing there, and look at the difference. This unit has an anti-armor rating of 466 when you add up all of the component units, right? Uh, and then they have an anti-soft rating of 1397. Again, factoring in this support equation down here. So these are numbers on the defense, not even on the offense. If you take a look at these two, you'll see that the 6th Marine Detachment has significantly higher anti-armor capability and a, a little bit more anti-soft, but it's doing it with a much smaller unit, literally half the amount of men, less AV. So you would think on paper the Maizuru first SLF having an assault value of 62 would be better than a Marine Detachment of assault value of 40, but when you run the numbers, you see that that's actually not true. So as a new player, it's very important that you understand that this number AV is not the end all be all for your calculations of success, okay? I want you to see that there are other things at play here than just this number, because that's the forward facing number that you're going to get during your combat orders turn. You're going to see assault value and you're going to start thinking that that's it. I'm going to make a death stack in this hex and I'm going to put 4,000 AV in there and I'm going to win. Well, what is in your AV? Is it Japanese AV? Is it American AV? Is it Chinese AV? Because depending on what that is, it makes a huge difference as to how effective they will be in combat. Okay? There's also more to it than this. So not only do you have to consider the firepower of each individual device or squad in your units, you have to take into consideration other things. So let's talk about what those other things are. Okay, now that I've showed you how to actually look at your squads and your units and find out what they're actually capable of doing, we need to look at the other considerations for ground combat that you need to be aware of before you engage in an attack. So let's go back to that Maizuru unit. So in addition to the actual raw power of the unit that we just calculated, you have to consider things like the unit's disruption level, the fatigue level, their experience level, the morale, the capabilities of their commander, the terrain, the presence of a headquarters. And I've talked about how HQs work in this game and how they can contribute to the assault value calculations depending on if they're a core, the command. All of those things come into play when you engage in ground combat. There's also detection can be a thing. You see that detection level when I hover over a hex here? That detection level, the higher it is, that also feeds into the calculations for ground combat. And I'll refer you to the manual again. The orders phase is the potential value, but it has to, the game adds all of these different factors in to give you your outcome. And you cannot look at the AV alone to determine if you're going to be successful. Okay, so when we compare these two units that we were comparing earlier, let's say these guys are meeting on open terrain. Let's okay. See how this unit has more experience, right? But this one has more morale. Let's assume these are all equal. Okay, except make that 75, make it 80, 80. Let's assume the commanders are identical. In actual combat, with the exception of the Gary Grigsby component, which I'll tell you about in a second, on paper, the 6th Marine Detachment should actually do a little bit better than this one because it has more firepower to bring and can do more damage to the Japanese units than the Japanese units can do to them. The only thing here that could be an issue is the quantity of squads that the Japanese have. They have more, and they can absorb more punishment perhaps than the Marine Corps one could. But the amount of damage output that the Marines can produce is substantially higher than what the Japanese one can do. Okay. Now, what I want to do is show you an example of some AV on paper that looked great and ended up not being as good as it looked. So wait here. I'm going to show you an example of a battle from my campaign with Lodric that should show you exactly why you can't just assume that AV is going to carry the day. Wait one. Okay, I want to show you an example from my campaign with Lodric. This is a ground combat that occurred at Changsha, which is here in China, right here where my mouse is at. This occurred about a week ago, real life time. Look at the disparity here. The Japanese started the battle with an AV of 10,715. That's amazing. I don't think I've ever seen that value in a game before. Maybe it's been duplicated before, but this is something incredible. Now, for our side, because we're the Allies, or Chinese in this case, our assault value was 40-40. All right. So on paper, you're looking at a 2.5 to 1 advantage, right? But the game does a lot of different things when it's time to resolve combat. It looks at the terrain again, fortification level, the actual disposition of the units and what they've got, the commanders, headquarters, all of those things are put into play. In addition to that, you have the Gary Grigsby component, which is the fact that Gary Grigsby games and the way they do calculations, the algorithms for determining outcomes of battles, they have a degree of chance in them. And I can't tell you exactly what that degree is, but people call them dice rolls. Gary Grigsby games have these dice rolls in them that feed into all these other calculations to give it a little bit of chance. And that's one component you really can't factor in. You can calculate terrain, you can calculate, the morale, the experience, all those things are known. The one thing that you can't predict is the Gary Grigsby component. Now, I'm not saying that's what necessarily made this attack the way it was, but let's look at this. After the game conglomerated all those things that I talked about, the terrain, the forts, the commanders, the headquarters, all that, it came up with an adjusted assault and defense AV value of 68 to 77. So in essence, it almost halved the Japanese attack and almost doubled ours by taking all those things into account. And the result was this: what I would consider a major ground defeat of the Japanese on the attack. The casualty rates were almost 3-1 in our favor. Despite us being outnumbered almost 3-1, we inflicted 3-1 casualties on the attacker. So here is proof that you can't just look at this assault value and assume that it's going to carry the day. I'm sure Lodric was looking at this number and saying there is just no way that we can't steamroll through Changsha with all this stuff. Look at this. All of this are his units. Everything in blue is a Japanese unit. My boy Lodric was probably thinking there's just no way that we can't win with this. In comparison, this is what I had. hardly nothing. And when you look at these are actually divided up into thirds, so it's even less than that. But because of the factors of terrain, morale, fortification, commanders, the headquarters that I had in Changsha, this is what you get. So you have to remember that when you're planning an attack, look past the assault value and look at all the other factors that are coming into play, because they all mean something. And I hope that by this video I've showed you that you can't just take the assault value as gospel in your planning. You got to look at each squad and find out how powerful they are individually. You have to look at the terrain. You have to look at the fort, the detection level, the disruption of the enemy units. All these things are put into the equation when you attack or defend. And don't forget that the defender gets the benefit of using their support units on the defense. So any of the support units that survive the initial fire attack, fire maneuver phase of the combat are now 1/10 of an AV to add to the equation, and the attacker doesn't get that. So if you have, look at this, 143,000 troops, probably about a third of these are support troops or more. Those get used as on the defense, and the allies, the attacker doesn't. I don't want to go down a rabbit hole here. I just want to show you, you got to look at everything before you attack, or you will end up like this. And you'll do so much damage to yourself that you won't be able to attack again. So I hope I didn't open up a huge can of worms here. This video is intended for new players that may not fully understand what is in an assault value and how it's used. If you're a veteran player, this is stuff you already know. But I'm not making videos for vets. I'm making videos for new people like me, so they understand what all goes into this. So I hope you found this useful. If you have any questions, please post them here on the video comments or on my Discord. If you think I misspoke or you have something additional you'd like to add, please put that in there too. I don't claim to be the subject matter expert on all this stuff. I just know enough to help other players who are new figure it out. So I hope that you enjoy this video and it brought you some value. And again, if you have some value to add to it, don't hesitate to put a comment in here, and I'll factor it into the next video. I'll make a correction if you feel like I misspoke, but I think I kind of hit the nail on the head here more or less enough. So with that, I'm going to let you guys go. Catch you on the next one.